Welcome to the club, stars who forgot what self-control is. From Orlando Bloom trying to knock out Bieber over his ex, to the Kardashian sisters staging a full-on wrestling match on camera. Today, no censorship, no excuses, and a massive dose of awkwardness. Let's get started. Orlando Bloom versus Justin Bieber, Ibiza altercation, 2014. This famous scandal took place at a restaurant in Ibiza. It all started when Bieber reportedly made a rude comment about Bloom's ex-wife, Miranda Kerr, implying a connection with her. Orlando couldn't hold back and tried to punch the singer, drawing applause from the crowd who were tired of Bieber's antics. Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj, Harper's Bazaar Party, 2018. At the Harper's Bazaar Party, tension between the rappers reached its peak. Cardi B accused Nicki of liking comments that insulted her parenting skills. The verbal exchange quickly turned into physical aggression. Cardi furiously launched her shoe at Nicki and eventually left the party barefoot with a huge bump on her forehead from security intervention. Solange Knowles versus Jay-Z, Met Gala Elevator, 2014. This is one of the most mysterious incidents in show business. Security footage from an elevator showed Solange furiously attacking Jay-Z, punching and kicking him while Beyoncé stood calmly by and did not intervene. To this day, it is believed that the outburst was caused by the rapper's infidelity, which Beyoncé's sister refused to tolerate. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier, talk show confrontation, 1974. Before their famous rematch, the boxers met in the studio of The Dick Cavett Show. Ali, in his usual manner, began teasing Frazier, calling him ignorant, which deeply offended Joe. He stood up to confront his rival, and the verbal spat instantly escalated into a real wrestling match on the studio floor, shocking both the audience and the host. Mariah Carey versus Nicki Minaj, American Idol Argument, 2012. The feud between the two divas on American Idol became legendary. During auditions, Nicki Minaj exploded in a profanity-laced tirade against Mariah, accusing her of being arrogant. The situation heated up so much that filming had to be stopped, and Carey later claimed Minaj allegedly threatened her with physical violence, forcing her to increase her security. Tyra Banks versus Naomi Campbell, talk show confrontation, 2005. In an emotional episode of her show, Tyra Banks invited her longtime rival Naomi Campbell for a talk. With tears in her eyes, Tyra revealed how Naomi had terrorized her backstage at fashion shows for years and tried to ruin her career. It was a moment of truth when a decade-long Cold War in the fashion world finally got a public resolution. Kenya Moore versus Portia Williams, Roa Reunion Hair Pull, 2014. The reunion of The Real Housewives of Atlanta ended in violence. Kenya Moore provoked Portia by yelling through a megaphone and waving a scepter right in her face. Portia's nerves snapped. She tackled Kenya to the ground and dragged her by the hair across the studio, leading to security intervention and leaving the other cast members in shock. Rosie O'Donnell versus Elizabeth Hasselbeck, The View Argument, 2007. A political debate about the war in Iraq turned personal on live TV. Rosie O'Donnell accused her co-host Elizabeth Hasselbeck of cowardice for not defending her against media attacks. The heated split-screen argument lasted several minutes, creating a toxic atmosphere that eventually led to Rosie's departure from the show. Dakota Johnson versus Ellen DeGeneres, Ellen Show Awkward Interview, 2019. Ellen tried to make a joke by accusing Dakota of not inviting her to her birthday party. However, the actress didn't miss a beat and replied firmly, "Actually, that's not true, Ellen," reminding her that an invite was sent. This moment went viral as viewers watched Ellen get caught in a lie, making the studio atmosphere incredibly awkward. Kid Rock versus Tommy Lee, VMAs Fight, 2007. The MTV VMAs turned into a brawl when Kid Rock attacked Tommy Lee right in the audience. The cause was jealousy. Both musicians were ex-husbands of Pamela Anderson. While Alicia Keys was performing on stage, Kid Rock punched Tommy Lee in the face, leading to a fight and both rockers being removed from the ceremony by police. Will Smith versus Chris Rock, Oscars Slap, 2022. The incident that shook the world on live TV at the Oscars. Chris Rock made a poor joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, not knowing or ignoring her condition, alopecia. Will Smith walked onto the stage, slapped the comedian, and then, returning to his seat, rudely shouted a demand to keep his wife's name out of his mouth, tarnishing his reputation forever. Geraldo Rivera brawl. Talk show fight with guests, 1988. During the taping of a program about teen neo-Nazis, the discussion spiraled out of control. Skinheads and black activists started a massive brawl during which chairs were hurled through the air. One of the chairs hit host Geraldo Rivera directly in the face, breaking his nose. This bloody broadcast became a symbol of 80s trash TV. Burt Reynolds versus Marc Summers. Tonight Show pie fight, 1994. What started as a joke quickly began to look scary. Burt Reynolds, clearly annoyed by the presence of TV host Marc Summers, dumped a mug of water on him. Summers retaliated, and the spat ended with wrestling and pie throwing. Despite the laughter in the audience, Reynolds' aggression and the tension between the guests were real. Cardi B versus Asia Davies. Love and Hip Hop Reunion, 2017. Even before her worldwide fame, Cardi B was known for her explosive temper on reality TV. When cast member Asia Davies started asking uncomfortable questions about Cardi's personal texts, she didn't waste time on words. She instantly took off her shoe and threw it at her opponent, proving that shoe throwing is her signature method of resolving disputes. Charlemagne the God versus Chanel West Coast. Ridiculousness argument, 2017. Radio host Charlemagne told Chanel West Coast right to her face that she was a whack rapper. Chanel began to defend herself aggressively, listing her achievements, but the guest only increased the pressure, comparing her voice to a bee sting. It was a harsh and awkward moment where a professional critic ruthlessly destroyed the artist's self-esteem on an entertainment show. Andy Kaufman versus Jerry Lawler. Letterman slap, 1982. Comedian Andy Kaufman, wearing a neck brace after an alleged ring injury, came on The Letterman Show with wrestler Jerry Lawler. Kaufman continued to insult the wrestler until Lawler stood up and slapped him, knocking him right out of his chair. It was later revealed to be staged, but at that moment, the rage and chaos on air seemed 100% real. Sharon Osbourne versus Cheryl Underwood. The Talk Argument, 2021. Sharon Osbourne began furiously defending her friend Piers Morgan, who was accused of racism. She snapped at co-host Cheryl Underwood, demanding an explanation of exactly what was racist, and not letting her get a word in. The on-air meltdown and accusations of disrespect toward colleagues led to an internal investigation and Sharon's firing after 11 years. Shia LaBeouf versus Mia Goth. Germany street fight, 2015. Frightening footage filmed by bystanders in Germany showed a drunk Shia LaBeouf arguing with his girlfriend Mia Goth. The actor aggressively demanded his backpack and told locals he was afraid he might kill her if he stayed. The video raised serious concerns about Mia's safety and the actor's mental state. Kim Kardashian versus Kris Humphries. Car fight, 2011. This episode was a harbinger of the end of their marriage, which lasted only 72 days. Paparazzi captured an argument in a car where Kris Humphries openly called Kim annoying and criticized her behavior. The complete lack of chemistry and mutual disdain were obvious, making this moment one of the most awkward in the history of their reality show. Bradley Cooper versus Irina Shayk. Wimbledon Tiff, 2016. At the Wimbledon final, cameras caught a moment the internet immediately dubbed the quarrel of the year. Bradley Cooper was trying to say something to Irina Shayk with a guilty smile, while she demonstratively looked away, wiping away a tear. Although the couple later blamed it on allergies, their body language suggested a very intense conflict had occurred right in the stands. Kim Kardashian versus Kourtney Kardashian. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, 2020. What started as an argument about work ethic turned into the most brutal fight in the show's history. Kim accused her sister of being lazy, and the verbal clash quickly escalated into real physical violence. Slaps, scratches, and kicks. The fight was so intense that production had to be shut down for a week so the sisters could cool off, and a makeup smear from Kim's slap was left on the wall. Kanye West versus paparazzi. LAX incident, 2013. Kanye West has a long history of clashes with photographers, but the incident at Los Angeles International Airport became the most telling one. When a paparazzo kept asking questions and ignored requests to stop, Kanye lunged at him and tried to grab his camera. The attack led to legal consequences and became a symbol of the rapper's aggressive fight for personal space. Patrick Dempsey versus Isaiah Washington. Grey's Anatomy set argument, 2006. A scandal that permanently changed the cast of the show. During a heated argument on set, Isaiah Washington grabbed Patrick Dempsey by the throat. The situation escalated further when Washington used a homophobic slur, believed to be directed at co-star T.R. Knight. The incident caused massive public backlash and ultimately led to Washington being fired from the series. Pusha T concert sabotage. Toronto Brawl, 2018. At the height of the vicious feud between Pusha T and Drake, Pusha's concert in Toronto, Drake's hometown, descended into chaos. A group of people, allegedly Drake fans, began throwing beer and water at the stage and then tried to rush the artist. Security forcefully pushed them back on stage, and Pusha T later accused his rival of hiring people to sabotage the show. Usher versus Chris Brown. Las Vegas roller rink brawl, 2023. Usher's birthday party ended in blood. It all started at a roller rink, where Chris Brown got angry after singer Tiana Taylor appeared to ignore him and began shouting. Usher tried to calm his friend down and followed him to the tour buses in the parking lot. Witnesses say the verbal argument escalated into a fight behind the buses, after which Usher returned with a bloody nose, shocking fans and exposing a crack in their long-standing friendship. Teresa Giudice table flip. The Real Housewives of New Jersey, 2009. This moment became the gold standard of reality TV. During a dinner, Teresa Giudice lost control after Danielle Staub told her to pay attention to the conversation. In a fit of rage, Teresa screamed the now iconic insult about a prostitution whore and violently flipped a fully set table onto the guests. This emotional explosion cemented her place in pop culture history forever. Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. Courtroom reactions, 2022. The trial watched by the entire world was filled with psychological tension. What went viral weren't fistfights, but reactions. Viewers analyzed Amber Heard's courtroom behavior frame by frame, accusing her of bad acting on the witness stand. Moments where she abruptly shifted emotions, or where Johnny Depp smirked sarcastically in response, became defining symbols of this explosive legal battle. Conor McGregor versus Machine Gun Kelly. MTV VMA's Red Carpet Altercation, 2021. The awards show Red Carpet turned into a war zone when Conor McGregor suddenly went after Machine Gun Kelly. According to reports, after being denied a photo together, the enraged fighters splashed a drink at the rapper and tried to rush him with his fists. Security struggled to hold McGregor back as a shaken Megan Fox was escorted away from the flying cups. Thanks for watching. Hope you had a great time. See you next time.